Ugh. Oh man. Leg day. Actually, one thing I had a lot of questions about was the eye drills that I was showing on my Instagram story. So this is something that I teach with a lot of my clients. And it's something called, basically it's called proprioception. So this is where you're able to essentially tell your body where you are in space, whether your eyes are closed or not. So one thing that you can do for proprioception, which is also helpful to improve your posture, is an eye drill. Essentially, it's just training the muscles of your eyes. So what you do is you can just get a pen or you can just use your fingertip, something that you can focus on. And you're simply gonna start off, this is the first drill, is starting off with the distance and then bringing it in as close as possible. So if you actually get in really close to my face and take a look at my eyes, there's the ability for your eyes to converge. And as I get closer, you can see that maybe one eye doesn't converge as well. And so that's essentially what we're going to train, is that ability for the eyes to work together. So the first drill is simply just bringing it in and letting those eyes converge. And the second drill is to take it in close and then move it back and forth in a straight line, all the way to one side of my vision, to the other side of my vision. And you want to make sure that you can focus on it the whole time, so you're actually tracking your eye, tracking the finger with my eye. 10 times back and forth. And then the third one, you can, again, these are just the ones I do. The third one that I like to do is either an infinity or clockwise, counterclockwise motion. So infinity would be just in that pattern, tracking it with the eye. We can also go for a clockwise around, again, tracking with the eye. You can switch it up, you can go counterclockwise. Now, why this is actually really, really useful for athletes, for people that are training in the gym, we're on our screens all the time. So what that does is it actually ends up pulling us forward. And what this can do for you is just give you a little bit of a nervous system reset. So now I'm back to where I should be in terms of my center of gravity, or at least that's the goal. And plus it doubles as your ability to, again, train your eye muscles, which is helpful for preventing essentially the degradation of your eye muscles and your vision. So give that a try, guys. And if you like that, comment below. Now let's get into the leg workout. Starting off with this guy right here, the adductor. There's a bunch of things that we can talk about when it comes to the adductor machine. The first thing is just basically the setup. So what I see a lot of guys doing is they'll get on this thing like that, and they'll push their legs all the way out wide. And then from this point on, they actually have to use their hands to bring it back in and then go from there. See, I don't like that setup. I just find it to be really clunky. And what I would actually want to do is show you guys how to find your active range of motion. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our legs right here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my glute, my hip, to open up as wide as I can go. And if that's as wide as I can go, that's my active range of motion. If I was to then push it farther than that, now I'm actually pushing into my structure and no longer getting the active range of motion of my adductors. Okay? So very simple setup, guys. That's my active range of motion. And now I'm ready to go. Now you're probably gonna say, well, that doesn't look like you're getting a full stretch. Okay, well, the thing is we have to access that range of motion with our hips. So if you wanna get more range of motion, think about actually using your glute muscles to open up wider. And from there, you can actually use your glutes the whole time. So from here, it's adductors to squeeze, and then glutes to open. Adductors to squeeze, glutes to open. So now we've got the setup. Setup is pretty easy now because all we have to do is just open up our hips and we're ready to go. We can actually start to change where we place some of that tension. So we have a whole bunch of different adductor muscles that are crossing over from more towards the top of the knee, more towards underneath the knee. And so what we can actually do is we can externally rotate. Externally rotate means to turn my knees and hips to face more out. My feet are also facing more out. And now from here, I can actually activate these adductors that are more towards the hamstrings, like the adductor magnus, for example, which is right under here. And so this is gonna look like, now my feet are almost facing each other. My hamstrings are almost facing each other. And I can activate different parts of my adductor. So this version is definitely one of my favorite versions for the adductor machine. Again, to really hit that adductor magnus, those adductors closer to the hamstrings. By turning those legs out, I feel like I can really fill in that gap here where guys want to fill in that gap between the legs. Try this version because it really does that. Now we also remember that this isn't just passive. I'm not just letting it push my legs open. I'm actually using my glutes to open and then squeezing the adductors in. Glutes open, adductors in. The reason why I want to do that is to establish that stability throughout my hip. Before we go into our hamstring stuff. So this is just a nice, easy way to warm up. Guys, I'm not in the mindset of trying to add a gym pin to this and continually progressive overload this weight stack. That's not my goal. If I was gonna try to make this thing harder for me, once I get to the whole stack, now maybe I'm doing a mechanical drop set where I'm starting externally rotated, and then after I'm fatigued after 10 to 12 reps, I'm then internally rotating and now continuing my set to make it a mechanical drop set, or I'm doing stops and starts or 21s. There's so many different ways to essentially progressively overload without continuing to need to add plates upon plates to this machine. Again, because I don't feel like at some point the law of diminishing returns starts to actually become where this is more of a hazard than it is a benefit. And these adductor muscles, in my opinion, are best dealt with as kind of adding to the rest of the workout instead of being like, oh, I gotta just keep adding weight and smashing these things into oblivion. Yo.
What if you have a client who has a gap here, who's trying to fill the gap between their legs?
Yep, so if you have that gap, the one thing that I would say to definitely do is focus on getting this active range of motion here and controlling it from start to finish with the glutes and the adductors working in harmony. And then also playing around with these leg positions. So going for my working set here, again, doesn't have to be crazy heavy, but we want to get the maximum stimulation from this set. So we don't need to rush the reps. It's controlled all the way to the end, controlled all the way. And if we end up reaching failure, you're gonna see that the way that I would want to achieve failure is better done through partial reps. Instead of trying to cheat to finish to the end of the range, we can focus on the stretch range where it's more challenging. Seated hamstring curl. What we're gonna do is first set this thing up properly here. Actually, with the setup, one thing that I notice a lot of people end up doing for some reason is, well, if you take a look here at the machine, it gives you the joint center. So that's essentially where I would want to get my knee joint to line up. But a lot of people end up actually bringing their knee joint past that joint angle here. And then when they do it, it's almost like my hip is quite a bit more forward. And then as I do that curl, a lot more of my femur is in front of the pad And to me, that never really felt right. So one thing that I really like to do is push my hips all the way back to the back pad, get my legs to go out as long as possible now. From here, now I'm actually gonna use this push pad as a push and pull pad, like I'm trying to pull it up or pick it up. Instead of pushing back on it and arching to go back and lifting my chest, I actually wanna use my abs to brace, pushing my hips back as far as possible, lifting this pad up at the same time, and then almost as if I was going to somersault over the machine. Now, I'm not actually gonna move my torso as I do this, but if I exaggerated it, I'd be going over the machine instead of back through the machine, okay? So this is a lot of ab work, and I can really lock into my hamstrings here if I control my core to stabilize my pelvis. So big cue with this one is trying to get my legs to go as long as possible and then driving them down to the floor. Long, keeping them long to the floor rather than just thinking up and back right away. There's actually more tension if I squeeze down to the floor.
Are you thinking about anything about your feet and your toes?
So I'm trying to relax my feet as much as possible on a seated leg curl, on a leg extension. Those feet should be as relaxed as possible. A lot of people try to, what I would call steer with the feet. So I would call that like, I'm trying to point my toes in or point my toes out or pull my feet up or point my feet too much, trying to relax them and instead steering from your hips. That's the way I think about it. So one good little technique you can do if you want to connect with your hamstrings is just hold that end range, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then squeeze. Okay, so good set there, 12 reps. And you can see near those last couple of reps, I'm not just trying to kick it back right away. I'm really trying to keep that tension where it has the most tension, which is actually when that lower leg is driving down towards the floor. So, especially on this machine, feels really good when I just lock in, keep everything like nothing is moving, everything is just locked in, and just hamstrings all day. So, do one more good set here. Yep. Okay. Ooh. 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 Okay. Oh, okay. Partials to failure, another great way to increase intensity. So 3 sets there. Let's keep it moving. We'll go to a lying hamstring curl. Okay, lying hamstring curl. So one thing that I coach with a lot of my clients, and the biggest thing that people will actually do is, there's nothing wrong with this, but just setting up in a traditional stance here with my hands here. And again, nothing wrong with this, but As you'll see, is as I come up here, I start to get a little bit more hip flexion. And this pad especially is trying to actually give me a little bit more hip extension. So what I really like to do here, and again, hip extension versus hip flexion. If I'm hip extending, it just means I'm gonna be a little bit more straight, as opposed to hip flex, I'm gonna be a little bit more back this way. So this pad puts us into more hip extension relatively compared to some of these other ones. So what I like to do here is actually use this post to shove off of, which then keeps my body in a longer, straight position, and it allows me to really keep my hips flush with that pad. Now to do this, I have to keep my chest on the pad, and I have to shove the whole time, not with bent arms, but straight arms. And it does require a lot of work through my abs, but this variation for me feels amazing. And if you can get that idea of trying to continually shove to go long and straight, it can really help you keep that femur, that upper leg, completely flush with this pad, which allows you to get more of your hamstring from top to bottom. So 2-second hold at the bottom, 1, 2, squeeze up fast. Hold, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh yeah. Do the 2-second pause at the bottom, gives you that stretch flexibility to really work on explosiveness. Another way to kind of reduce momentum. And again, guys, here, 3 sets, pyramiding up, 1 set to failure. We do have quite a bit of exercise to get through on this leg day, so that's why we're managing our pace here. This is the back off set. I like back off sets, not to be confused with drop sets. I like to have that rest in between. If I'm trying to build muscle, I feel like a back off set where you actually rest in between your heavy and your back off set makes more sense. If you're trying to burn calories, if you're in a deficit, and you want to burn more calories, keep your heart rate up, then a drop set where you don't rest might make more sense. But for right now, after we've done our heavy set, this back off set, I really want to drive that blood and that pump into my hamstring. So we're going to go for 15 to 20 reps, continuous. There's no pause. It's just nonstop reps. Here we go. Uh, 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 okay. Oh, oh, man. Oh, yeah. Sometimes those back off sets are needed, man. So much blood in there now. Ooh. Let's go hit some quads. This is the one that I have nightmares about. This machine is nightmare fuel, guys. But only when you do it the way I do it, which is what I'm going to show you right now. So there are a lot of different leg presses, but this Panada leg press, the horizontal adjustable leg press, is one of my favorites because we can bring it all the way horizontal. And now what we want to do here is we want to achieve the deepest range of motion possible, stacking our hips, knees, and toes. So what I mean by that is I'm not trying to go out super wide here, where my knees and toes are out wide. I'm actually trying to keep this internal rotation rather than external to really hit my sweeps and to pre-exhaust my quads and hamstrings and glutes here, guys. So enough stalling. Let me show you how it looks. Whoa. We're gonna do 2 working sets, 300 pounds, 8 reps from the bottom, 8 reps full. So almost like 21s, but 16s, because the top half isn't as nearly as important as the bottom half. So, one sec, let me use this guy here, little wiperoo. So, on my warm-up set, I just do straight set. On my working sets, I really like focusing on that bottom half range, where I'm in that deep stretch on my quads, deep stretch on my glutes, and then coming up only halfway to really just keep that tension, finishing with full reps, and we want to go as close to failure as we can here. And the good thing about this machine is you can take it right to failure. You're very safe because you start in your end range basically. So even if you weren't able to finish the rep, you can just put it down and you're safe to get out. As opposed to a 45-degree leg press, hack squat. If you reach failure, you're stuck. So this is a nice one to either pre-exhaust with or finish with, because like I said, you can really just take this one to failure. And I guess that's enough rambling. Let's just get to work, guys. Let's just get to work, okay? Because this is where it fucking counts. Yep. Ooh. 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 Oh. 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 Okay. Okay, we've arrived at the hack squat, and I'm going to show you guys how I do it. So, with the hack squat, what a lot of guys tend to do is go wide, and of course, they're trying to get their ass to grass to get deepest range of motion possible. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but what I like to do, because I really want to bring up my quads here, and I've always had pretty good glutes, I've always had pretty good inner thighs, my VMO also quite developed, but I find that this technique really helps me hit my sweep. So what I do, just starting off with very light weight, but I'm gonna really try to fold, ankle, knee, come right down, pause, come up 2 inches, pause again, and then finish. Pause in the deep stretch. Pause again, squeeze. Now what this is doing is preventing me from actually bottoming out all the way and dropping my knees out. In order to maintain this near bottom range, I have to keep my knees internally rotated so I can squeeze straight forward and straight back. So it's gonna look like knees are going towards the mirror, ankles have to fold, pause on my quad, squeeze up 1-2 inches, finish with a full squeeze. You guys will see how crazy this gets once we start adding more weight.
What is your process of taking on clients?
Yep, so any potential new client can go to my website, strandstrongfitness.com. You can fill out a coaching application there. I'll contact you to book you in for a consultation. New clients get a free consultation, and from that point on, we can discuss whether working together will be a good fit. I also offer one-on-one in-person training here at Pure Muscle and Fitness, so you can contact me for that as well.
And then what would be your ideal client? Who are you looking to work with? Characteristics, yeah.
I'll work with anybody who's self-motivated and dedicated to making themselves better. You don't have to be a bodybuilder. You don't even have to be a competitive athlete. I love to work with anybody who's willing to give me 100%, because I find that those people are the most fun to work with because we get excellent results. All right, warm-ups are complete. Okay. Oh, whew. That one hit failure out of nowhere. But like I said with that one, it's not true failure because you still have to finish the rep. So not mechanical, just one rep in reserve. If I went down again, I wouldn't come back up. But on the other one, I can finish at the bottom and I'm done.
What would you rather, or do they both have their own?
Yeah, both are good.
Both are good?
Both are good, because I could start the workout with this one, maybe load a little heavier, go to failure on that one, or vice versa like we did today. Oh man, these are smoking me today. Crazy pump though. Whew, leg extensions. Now, why am I doing them at the end of the workout? I know, right? I know, right? Well, we did our hamstrings first. So this workout for me is like a reverse workout where you can do it quad extensions first and then run it back, or you can do it the way that we did it. It just means that some exercises are going to be lighter than others. Like this is going to be lighter than it is at the beginning of the workout. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 10 reps normal, and then we're going to do 5 more reps with a 5-second concentric. So let's get to it. Okay. God damn. That's a pump right there.
Like your weight, if your life doesn't revolve around like what time you have to eat, what time you have to train. Do you ever think you have a life like that in the future?
It's a bit of a struggle because I like the routine. I just don't miss meals, so if I did, it would feel like something was wrong. And if I don't work out, I mean, I always look forward to, if I know if I'm resting today, I'm going to get a good workout tomorrow. So either I'm training today or I'm looking forward to training. So that would be a hard thing to like after I got my surgery, I had to stay out of the gym for a couple of weeks. And it was really challenging. And that's why I still ended up coming here and did a calf day, a hamstring day. It didn't actually make sense, but it made sense for me, just mentally, so I could get in the gym still and exercise and work my body still.
So if you weren't a bodybuilder, what would you be doing?
I always need a balance of the physical and the mental. That's why I took on the MAT program for this year, because I find that I thrive when I have both, and just having too much of one or the other, I get bored of one or the other, and I need the mental and the physical stimulation. So, and even like learning and teaching, like having both of those two is important for me. So,
I don't think you answered
yeah.
my question.
What was your question?
If you weren't bodybuilding
Yeah.
right now, where would you be? What would you be doing?
I would have to have another specific goal, because I used to be really determined to be a pro paintballer.
Oh yeah.
So my schedule was different because you're not trying to put on weight, you're just trying to be, this is back when I was 130 pounds. So that was part of the eating disorders, that I knew the slimmer I was, the faster I could be, the more likely I could hide behind the bunkers. Also being a 5'11" paintball player, my goal was also to be a front player, meaning someone like you, 5'4", is gonna be better at a front play because you're smaller and you can get into the snake and into those bunkers that are closer to the enemy side, that are lower to the ground. But anyways, it would just be really difficult. I would have to have something to replace it. Okay. Oh shit. My fucking abs are cramping. Look at that. This is my finisher. Just to really seal the deal. Oh. Okay. It's legs. It's leg day. So sometimes I'll do that as a giant set to finish. Leg extension, lunge, wall sit. Yeah. So still got that ab cramp. Okay, so there's leg day done. Quads, hamstrings, full leg day. Because my current routine, one leg day a week. We're doing the bro split. So chest, back, legs, shoulders, arms, rest, repeat. Resting on the weekends so that when I start again on Monday, I'm fresh. Halfway through the week, guys, let's keep it rolling. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you comment below. Let me know what you learned in this video. And don't forget, guys, healthy people build more muscle.